Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Did It Work? My name's Nina, and today we're doing an all-time favorite of mine, banana pudding. To be more specific, we are doing Maya Angelou's banana pudding from the book that I've always been using, Hallelujah, The Welcome Table, A Lifetime of Memories with Recipes, and I'm still using my favorite cookbook stand. That is on page 96 if anybody is cooking along with me. So let's get started. As you can see, I'm starting off with a double boiler because I love making my custards and anything like that that I might risk burning in a double boiler to eliminate the possibility of burning or scorching anything. First thing it tells me to do actually is to turn on the oven. It is too hot. I'm going to do the oven last because I don't want the oven on for that long. First ingredients that I have is a third cup of sugar, a third cup of cornstarch, a little pinch of salt, and I'm going to just stir this all up and make sure it's blended up well. Banana pudding is by far one of my favorite things to eat. And I'm going to be honest, I actually really have not ever had a bad banana pudding, but the majority of the banana puddings that I've had have been either store-bought or they have been from the boxed puddings in the grocery store. I love the homemade ones so much better. Okay, so I've got all of that incorporated in, so I'm going to go on to the next step. I'm going to start stirring in these 3 cups of milk. The boxed pudding is fine. I will still eat it if it's made with boxed pudding, but there is nothing like homemade pudding. I did a recipe earlier that was homemade chocolate pudding, which is the very first time I'd ever made homemade chocolate pudding, and now I just won't go back. I've made that chocolate pudding a couple of times since. There's no way I'm going back to store-bought pudding. It's just no way. It's so much better. And that is also the same with banana pudding. Once I figured out a nice, easy recipe for this banana pudding, I have never bought a boxed mix again because it is really that simple, guys. It is really that simple. It is as easy as a box mix to me. Only difference is one of them, you're going to put some fire on. I don't think you put fire on a box mix. So I'm stirring this in, and I'm just going to stir this and let it thicken. Now, the cornstarch is what's going to make this thicken. So I am so excited about this. So I will be back in a little bit, and I'm going to let this go ahead and thicken. Okay, we're going to constantly stir this, and we're going to see it get thicker as we stir. If you're doing this on the stove and not in a double boiler, it will go a lot faster because you're going to have direct heat. Okay, as you can clearly see, this is starting to really thicken up. It's not that milk consistency anymore, and it's starting to get much more of a thicker, a little bit heavier than a heavy cream consistency. So I'm just going to keep letting this cook for just a little bit longer. If you were doing this on the stove, you would stir it constantly until thickened and boiling, and then let it cook for 1 minute after it boiled. We'll never come to a boil because we're in a double boiler. Make sure you're stirring it constantly so you don't develop any lumps. If by chance you get distracted and develop lumps, you'll just have to strain it. All right, so I've got this to a nice thickness that I'm going to call good. And so we're going to move on to the next step. So in a small bowl, I'm going to whisk the 8 egg yolks. Okay, then I need to temper my egg yolks. So I'm going to take this bowl and I'm going to just dip and get some in here, about a half cup, a little more, a little less. Then I'm going to come over here to the right where my egg yolks are, and I'm going to whisk and put in this hot liquid, but I'm going to whisk quickly while I do it so I don't scramble the eggs. Okay, I'm going to just keep whisking this, make sure my eggs don't scramble up. Okay, then once I got this all together, this is tempered. As you can see, eggs are still very loose, not scrambled. So now I'm going to pour this into my custard. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and keep stirring quickly. And then we're going to get our nice yellow color, guys. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so good. This is cooking the eggs, guys. This is where the eggs are no longer raw because they've now been cooked in this. The last thing that we're going to do, we're going to stir in the 3 tablespoons of butter and the 1 tablespoon of vanilla. And at this point, I have now turned the fire out. All right, so we've moved over so that we're going to start assembling, and I'm going to make a few mini ones. So I have my mini vanilla wafers because I'm making minis, and I'm gonna put these on the bottom and the sides of my bowl. Just place them. If you're using a bigger container, get the regular size ones. But I'm gonna line all of them, and I'm also gonna line them up the sides. So I will let you see what they look like once I get them done. When my kids were young, they always used to like to put the cookies in the bottom of the pan. And of course, you know, it was more like one cookie on the pan, one cookie in the mouth. So I always had to buy a couple of boxes of the cookies because the kids would eat them. But I loved having my kids in the kitchen with me to cook because all of my kids can cook now. And having them in the kitchen with me to be able to cook was always important to me, to make sure that they were self-sufficient human beings and could make meals. Almost every meal that I make, my kids could actually make if they had to. Some of them don't like to cook, but they can. And that's the point, is they can. If they wanted to, they can. My youngest actually got his fiance by cooking. She'd come over after work and he would have made himself dinner, and she would end up getting some, and that's kind of how it is still for them. He does the majority of the cooking, but she is starting to do more cooking. She calls me a lot of times and she'll ask me for some recipes, or if the recipes aren't already on YouTube, she'll ask me about them and stuff like that. So I enjoy that. They are great human beings starting their life off. I am so proud of them. I do like a lot of cookies in mine, so I'm kind of putting them in there. They're not cooperating by standing up, but they will. I might just put some custard in there and then put the sides up, quite honestly. And I'm going to put the custard in here warm. Just got to get a measuring cup to scoop them in here. Just putting one scoop in each right now. Back to the cookies. And you do these any way you want to do them. There is no right way or wrong way to put these cookies. There is not. As many or as little as you like. Some people don't like the cookies. See how they're standing up now that I have that custard in there? They're not falling into the middle like they were before. Okay, now I'm going to slice my banana up in thin slices. As thick and thin as you want. This is your banana pudding. Now you see how I cut these right here? And then I'm going to peel this along those lines that I just cut. And this is what I call a banana boat. Because then I just take my knife and I cut it all the way down to that rind. And they don't fall everywhere. They stay right there in that boat. This is how I cut my bananas when I put them in my cereal or anything. And when I put them in my cereal, I put them in smaller bites. So I'll cut them like this. And then for my cereal, I'll go back down and cut them down this way so that they're more in smaller bite-sized pieces. Mine are not symmetrical in size, and that's okay because I'm a home cook, not a professional chef. Therefore, I don't have to have perfection when I cook. As long as it tastes good, I am happy, 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 happy. So I always tell you guys, taste as you go. So now I'm going to take these bananas that I just sliced, have my boat right here. You see why I have this boat? So easy to just pick them up. Oops. And sometimes they just fall where they need to be. And I'm putting them in here. And I like to kind of push them down. Again, as little or as many bananas as you want. This is yours. Another layer of custard. Now I'm going to do another layer of bananas right now. Okay, I'm going to just put a little bit more on the top because I'm going to put some cookies on top of this too. These are going to be some extremely filled banana pudding ramekins, and I'm okay with that. Take this and I'm going to just spread it around a little bit. These cookies on there. And I'm going to just give these all a little bit of a press. Make sure they're in that pudding pretty good. I don't want the pudding to go running out the sides or anything, so not too hard. We have one more step. So remember the egg whites that we had? I put those in the fridge. Now before we start this, I told you at the beginning I didn't turn my oven on because of the heat. I need to turn my oven on 350 now. And I'm going to get my whisk attachment out. Okay, my egg whites from out of the fridge. Put a 1/4 cup of sugar in there. Then I'm going to put this on low and start whisking them. See? Frothy. That's what we call frothy. Got to add our 1/2 teaspoon of cream of tartar to help stabilize it. Then I'm going to increase the speed up medium. Then I'm going to gradually add in the rest of the sugar that we did not use. Make that meringue sweet. Okay, I'm going to see if this is done. Like I'm getting a stiff peak test. So, and the best way to figure out if these are done for sure, you should be able to tip it upside down without them falling out. They didn't fall out. Now I'm just going to top them. This is how Maya Angelou does hers. I've never done them this way. So I'm going to put the meringue on top and make sure the meringue goes all the way to the sides. And it keeps the meringue from shrinking and not covering up the whole thing. So I always do the sides first. Always, always. And as long as these are stiff, they shouldn't fall. As much or as little as you want. Once I got the edges all done, take my spoon and I just give it some depth by kissing the top of it and letting those stiff peaks come out. So I'm going to do that to all of them. Put them in the oven for about 20 minutes until they're golden brown, nice and golden. Okay, and I'm going to just put this on a baking pan so it makes the transportation a lot easier. Make sure they don't touch one another. And I'll let you guys see the finished product in about 20 minutes. Welcome to the tasting table. Here it is, out of the oven. Isn't that gorgeous? I let it cool on the cooling rack for an hour, and then I took it and put it in the refrigerator and let it cool down for about 3 to 4 hours. So now I'm going to taste this, and I'm so excited about it. I've never had this with the meringue on it. This is Maya Angelou's recipe. I've never done it with the meringues, but I love it because now I'm not wasting egg whites, especially 8 eggs. Look at that. Look at that. This is beautiful. Here we go, guys. I'm so excited. Maya Angelou has done it again. This is wonderful. Oh my gosh. This is so good. This is definitely a plus. It worked. I love it, love it, love it. So until next time, always remember, love with your heart, cook with your soul. My name is Nina. Bye.